Welcome to our Mile High Church podcast. This is Michelle Medrano. I'm so happy that you're here. Have you ever heard of the Enneagram? It's one of those personality type systems where you learn about yourself. And I'm getting certified in teaching it and doing a workshop at Mile High Church Friday night, June 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. And then all day Saturday, June 8th. And you can come to one or both of those. Go to milehighchurch.org to get registered and learn all about yourself through the eyes of the Enneagram. I am happy to be completing our three-part series on cultivating abundance today, an opportunity that we have had to deep dive into how to have a more abundant life. In the first week, I defined abundance as anything in our life that we would love to have more of. It doesn't matter whether it's more time or more energy, more friends, more connections, more opportunities, more money, whatever that might be. In order to have that more that our heart desires, and nothing's off the table in that regard, we must cultivate an attitude and energy. We must cultivate abundance. We must believe and learn how to really be abundant beings of life. And so we've been looking at that in three parts, and looking at mindsets and looking at habits and looking at our sense today of generosity, how to be more generous in this regard. Now, I want to start out right away because when I say this and when I go into this talk, I've given talks about generosity many times in churches over the years, this church and other churches. And oftentimes people immediately kind of tune out because there's this sense that we might have had from the past that the minister's up there talking about generosity because they're going to try to talk me into giving to the church. I need money. They want money. They need my money. And so there might be this like, I'm going to turn off and tune out right now and just take a little nap. And I would like to say that while I absolutely pray and am a stand for Mile High Church to continue to prosper in every way so that we continue to retain amazing people like Karen Thomas and our other staff and ministers and all the things that we do here. I trust that Mile High Church is an idea in the mind of God and that we are prospered. And I believe wholeheartedly that the way into a greater life of abundance includes the willingness to be generous in every way. It's not just about money. Money is just a small part of it, actually. It's about being generous of heart, being generous in sharing our love and support, and sharing words of kindness and acts of kindness with other people. It's about being generous in giving our joy and ideas and our creativity into the world. It's about cultivating a generous heart in every way so that our mindsets and our habits and our actions reflect this generosity. And we don't do this because we believe in some capricious God that's out there keeping track of all of our generous acts. We do this because we know that at the core of an abundant life is an open heart, is a heart that can love, loves humanity, loves the causes that they care about, whether it be a church or charity, loves the life that they're living, the earth and the places they want to go and see and the things they want to do, loves the people in their life. And a generous heart then is a heart and being of abundance. I love that song that the choir sang right out of the prayer about perhaps the light. Today's the day we'll get the light. Perhaps the light is right here. Because it really goes with the vision that I've been having ever since I started working on this talk. It's that we don't need to get more, we need to be more. We don't need to draw more good to us. We need to expand from the inside out to make welcome more abundance. And we've been talking about techniques to do that. And today, with the heart conversation, I started out this series by saying week 1 would be about the mind and mindsets. Week 2 would be about the body and the habits, the way we move our body in our life. And today is the day of heart. Today is the day where we get invited in regards to abundance and general living to say, am I willing to be an open-hearted space of life? An open-hearted, generous space of life. And I see it like the aperture of a camera. For a while, I was a a photographer in high school, and I loved how I could see with my camera that I could open the aperture of the camera, and when I did so, more light would come into the lenses and provide more light to then take an image of whatever it was I was working on. And when I closed the aperture, it got smaller and there was less light available. Nothing changed about the level of light in the room unless I turned a light on or off, but everything changed about the aperture of the instrument that I had to take the picture. And what I'm suggesting to us today is that generosity opens that aperture up. Because it's our natural state of being, it's what's pouring forth through us, it's what God is as us, and the more we open up that aperture, which often is located and centralized in the heart, in the feeling nature, in the love that seeks expression through us, in the generosity that naturally wants to rise out of us, the more we open that up and are that presence, the more abundance we then experience, because we can't help it. We can't help but draw to us more and more of that good that God is, because we're being willing to be a channel for it. We're being willing to be an expression of it. We're being willing to be vulnerable enough, and it is a vulnerability to give ourselves away in this way. To be generous of kindness and love might mean we get rejected, or people don't always understand us, or people think we're weird, or whatever it might be. But it also has to do with standing in our worth. Standing in our worth. We have suffered far too long on this path of human experience, believing that if I could just get more, I would be happy. If I could just get more good to come to me, if I could just grab hold of more of that love and more money and more time and more, I could just be so much happier if I had more. All the while, what it really is if I could give more and be more. If I could share more. If I could stand in my divine worthiness and then give you love and support and uplifting words and kindness, and not only the people that I know and care about, but if I could give that back to humanity, that's the kingdom of heaven on earth. Just take a moment with me and just imagine, what would a world be like where everyone was being generous, was giving, was open like that? How might I help? What can I do? What do you need? How can I support you today? I'm here for you. These are the words and energetics of an abundant person. And the reason that someone who can do that is abundance is because they're in divine receivership. They're in a state where they're already receiving. See, many of us think it's about giving first. And even our founder, Ernest Holmes, has something to say about that. And it's not necessarily that I completely disagree with the founder. Okay, I completely disagree. No, I'm just kidding. I don't always align with him, what he says exactly the way he says it, but I love this sentiment. And it's similar to what Reverend Zamira shared early in the readings when he says, we should give of ourselves in love and in service to others, in a spirit of generosity and good fellowship. To refuse to give is to refuse to receive, for everything moves in circles. Real giving is the givingness of the self. A kind word, a thoughtful act, perhaps just a smile can help lighten the burdens of others. And what he's talking about, and what many will say, is it's better to give first. But here's my theory. My theory is you can't give anything unless you've received it. You can't give away something you don't have. You bankrupt yourself if you give more time to people than you have time to give. You have to be in receivership of divine love to really truly give it. So I think the first step is really about being in receivership. And the number one issue we have about that is all about our worthiness. Am I worthy to receive the abundant love of the universe? Am I worthy to receive the unconditional love of the divine? Because I've done this and that and said this and made these mistakes. Maybe I'm not so worthy. An abundant person releases all that and stands in the full measure of that love and is in receivership at a heart level, feels it as a warm energy that bathes them and supports them and uplifts them and is good at receiving. John D. Rockefeller Jr. says, gracious acceptance is an art which most never bother to cultivate. We think that we have to learn how to give, but we forget about accepting things, which can be much harder than giving. Accepting another person's gift is allowing him to express his feelings for you. So at the human level, we get a gift, oh, you shouldn't have. What would it be like if we said, well, you should have, and I love it? At the level of the divine, I'm not worthy. What if I'm totally worthy and I stand in the light of the divine? We never ever saw a moment where Jesus, the master teacher, did not stand in that worthiness of the divine presence of God. And we look at spiritual lights throughout the ages, beings that we admire and can reflect upon their beauty and their grace and their amazing presence that blessed our planet, and not see that they were in receivership of that presence. An abundant person is in receivership of that presence. They let themselves open the aperture of their own inner being in a way that it just flows through them powerfully. It's not a selfish thing then. It's not a please give me so I can have more. I need more. Gimme, 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 gimme. It's an opening of divine receivership of the energy that life is always seeking to give to us. So I have some specific ways that I invite us to consider in opening up that aperture of our being. Some of them are going to be very familiar, and some of them may seem counterintuitive. And the first one was also pointed to in our readings today. It's giving forgiveness, generous forgiveness. I'm teaching that abundance class on Tuesday nights, using the 4 laws of financial prosperity that Edwene Gaines talks about, and one of her laws is forgiveness. So I'm going to say right here and right now, with the time I have today, I don't have time enough to share the amazing genius of Edwene's words, steps of forgiveness and such. So you're welcome to come and join us Tuesday night, right here in this room or online, to learn more about those steps. What I want to say today, and what I want to invite us to consider, is that forgiveness is generosity, because as many teachers have taught us throughout the ages, forgiveness is never for the perpetrator, for the other person. Forgiveness is never for the person who did us wrong. Yes, in our everyday relationships, when we are forgiving, it can help us stay connected to the people that we love, and it often has to be a practice in our relationships with up close and personal. But there are people that I've had to work on forgiving, that I've had to have boundaries, that I'm no longer in life with them. I don't know where they are, or they've moved on to another plane of existence. Does that mean that my forgiveness, my ability to forgive them, is now gone? No, it's not, because that all lives in me. That ability to forgive is about me. It's not about someone out there, and it's not even about God. God doesn't keep track. God's forgiveness, it's also about opening up to that love that God is, because God, the infinite presence, the divine, the intelligence of this universe, is not holding anything against us. I saw a cartoon about forgiveness. A little boy is doing his prayers at the end of the night and is saying to God, okay, as soon as you forgive me about this, will you please tell Santa Claus for me? this concern our little souls have, our big souls have, that somehow, somewhere, someone's keeping track and we're not worthy of the kingdom somehow. But what we can see and sense is that we are absolutely worthy of the kingdom. And when we forgive, what it does for us is it allows us to claim our inherent worth, to return ourselves to ourselves, to even embrace what we learned, the strengths that we developed from the experience that took place. Some of my favorite stories of human experience are people who were wronged, powerfully challenged and wronged, betrayed and hurt, who have worked and worked to let it go and to forgive, and then out of that beautiful work, go on to go forth and help other people do the same. This is part of the human experience. And yet what happens at the deep level of our being is that when we let go of some wrong that happened to us and we let go of all that we've made up about ourselves around it, we increase that aperture. The way Edwene Gaines says it, she says that if we refuse to forgive, we are clinging to self-defeating feelings such as guilt, shame, blame, hurt, and resentment. And when we do this, we cannot feel truly worthy of having the best God can give us. We cannot and will not accept God's gifts because we think we're unworthy. We're holding on to resentment. I've used the example of the garden a lot in this series, and last week talked about the patches of garden. This week, what I want us to understand is resentment is like a toxic pesticide, that we go out to the garden and we think, I'm going to spray the garden to get rid of those weeds. And in the process, I might kill a weed or two temporarily, but I also, what do? I kill all the beautiful stuff too. It's toxic pesticide to our soul when we hang on to our resentments and hang on to our grudges. And when we find ways to be free, that's what forgiveness is, setting ourselves free. And by the way, of course, it's not just about other people. Some of us are probably sitting here going, I've forgiven everybody in my life. Yeah, that's no big deal. Have you forgiven yourself? The resentment we have towards ourselves, the things we hold against ourselves, the ways we feel we're unworthy because of what we did or what we didn't do or what we could have done better, they are toxic just the same way. And when we learn to forgive ourselves, to actively, proactively just extend love and gratitude, take in the lessons we've learned and move forward, we begin to see the garden of our life bloom powerfully, magnificently, as the aperture grows and the light pours in and the photosynthesis of the soul can take place and expansion happens. Forgiveness is a huge part of the abundant life, and we must walk that path to have more of it. The other things that I want to invite us into are probably familiar. The first one, generous service to other people. And it is about volunteering and doing good work in the world and how can I go out and serve. That's part of it. It's also about the everyday willingness to be of service to the people I share my life with. I sometimes get so busy going about keeping my schedule, keeping track of everything I've got to get done, that I am looking down at my to-do list and not looking up at the people in my life. Really seeing them. Really asking today, how could I be of service to that person today? Really sensing that someone just needs a hug or needs me to call them and just say, how are you doing today? These are ways that we serve each other, that we're generous to each other, that we don't ignore the signs of seeing somebody in stress or possible upset, that we actually go the extra mile to reach out to them. And I sometimes find structures help me a little bit. So I'm one of those people who loves tithing my money because it gives me a 10% structure to do that. But I also have applied it to time. So here's my logic. See what you think of this. There are 24 hours in every day, and we're probably awake about 16 to 18 hours a day, hopefully. So if I'm tithing 10% of my time to be of service to others, that's 1.6, 1.8 hours every day. And that might mean that I'm just sitting in prayer and sending prayers to everyone in my life that I love and care about, sending prayers to people around the world. It might mean that I'm actively helping someone. I'm at the grocery store and I see someone who needs help. It's never going to be me getting the thing off the top shelf, though. I will admit that. But I'm good at the lower shelves, really good at those. It may be me just feeling someone pass through my mind. Some of you in this room, I have occasionally, I'll be just doing something and your face is in front of my mind suddenly and a text goes out immediately. Hey, you just came through my mind. I'm just sending you a little love. How are you doing today? Because in my mind, we're so connected that sometimes the invitation to serve my 1.6 hours presents itself. And if I'm too busy, I'll set it aside. Oh yeah, I just saw Carly out there. It's no big deal. I'll see Carly later. Whatever. Rather than, hey, how are you? What's going on? Not, is anything wrong? Not dramatic stuff. Just, hey, I'm just thinking about you. An invitation to be of service. And so we can find that we are happier and that aperture goes bigger and bigger for us. One of the things that I loved years ago was that whole random acts of kindness movement that swept through our world. And one of the reasons I loved it so much is it came with it anonymity. Oh, I said that word really good, didn't I? Anonymity. It was the opportunity to be randomly kind and never get any credit for it at all. No one would ever know that you're the one who put that quarter in their parking meter or bought their coffee as they drove through the drive-thru. No one would ever know that you went and paid off their kids' school lunches or that you did some volunteer act. You showed up in the middle of the night and cleaned and swept the floors or whatever it was. The opportunity to give and have no one give you credit for it. Being generous to others. And the last one is having generous compassion for other people. Extending grace to people. Constantly extending grace. Especially people I don't know, who make choices I don't understand, who say things that seem crazy at times. To extend grace. To say, I'm not in their world. I'm not living their life. If I need to understand why they said what they said, I might reach out to them. If I don't know them well or don't know how to get them, maybe I let it go and just send them love and compassion. The opportunity to be more compassionate versus judgmental, making wrong, second guessing, or just outright toxically critical of other people. You want to close that aperture down? Go ahead. But if we want to open ourselves up and have that life that I invited us to envision at the beginning of this message, it's going to require that we give that stuff up. And rather, we allow ourselves to extend generosity, to try to understand that we can't possibly begin to know what someone is going through when they make choices if we're not personally connected to their lives. We can't know. And so why even spend a moment, especially if it's at all negative, postulating and theorizing and coming up with things that we're making up about people? It's an opportunity to just understand that what motivates people to do and say things is their personal motivation. One thing that's helped me, I mentioned this in the announcement video, is that I have for many years studied this Enneagram. So looking forward to my workshop on it. I hope some of you will come and join me. But I can honestly say that the study of this 9-point system, it's all about motivation, not behavior. And so what it's helped me to understand, without putting people in boxes and saying, oh, they must be that or they must be that, I can see what motivates people from a compassionate viewpoint through the Enneagram. And it helps me go, oh, maybe they're just wanting to be seen today. Maybe they just need a little uplift. Maybe I could be of greater service to them rather than making them wrong because they were so loud or they were trying to get my attention so voraciously. Did you clearly see how they were? Love and compassion extended joyously, powerfully, because it's who we are. It's because we know that we want to open that aperture of the heart and live from that place. St. Teresa of Calcutta says to us, intense love does not measure, it just gives. When we are in the presence of that intense love that God is as us, the desire to give and be generous is a natural outpicturing of it. This is part of how we know we're there, is that we can feel that urge in us. I want to give. I want to support. I want to let go. I want to stop being so negative. I want to let go of judgment. I want to be a person of light, a person of increase, a person of divine love. In order to do that, I've got to practice these practices. I've got to live from these teachings. I've got to stand in that truth. So to recap our series, we started out with letting go of mindsets and working with mindsets that we've taken on, that we've acquired, that we've absorbed through our life, and came up with some specific ways that week to really change those mindsets, to plant new seeds. And then last week we talked about habits, ways to treat and move our feet, to move in our world and create and cultivate habits that uplift our new mindsets. And today, being generous. I am a generous, abundant being, claiming it, owning it, living from it. Cultivate abundance on behalf of yourself, the people you share this life with, on behalf of our world. We all benefit from it. We all benefit. Please take a moment with me now to pray. Let us pray together. I invite our practitioner prayer partners to stand with me. And I remind us all that after the service is complete, if you would like a time of prayer, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Come forward and let one of our wonderful practitioner prayer partners extend themselves in prayer for you on behalf of you today. And so we surrender into this moment of cultivating the presence, allowing ourselves to turn towards the light, much like a flower in bloom turns towards that sun and allows the warmth of the sun to nurture it. We do that now with every aspect of our being, with every cell of our being. For truth is that God, that living presence of life, is absolutely activated in every cell of us, in every nook and cranny, in every thought and idea, in every mindset, in every action we take, in every moment of generosity. The power and the presence that God is as us is fully expressed. And so here in this moment now, together in this prayerful, joyous moment, we allow ourselves to be touched and transformed by that light and feel the heart center opening more and more to let that light through us out into this world on behalf of every other human we share this beautiful earth with, on behalf of every animal and plant and every part of creation. We say yes to this divine generosity that seeks expression through us. We are in receivership of God now. And as such, we go forth living this out in our lives magnificently, powerfully, joyously, consciously. I accept and affirm that this is the truth of us here and now, and that this week is a week of divine generosity bursting into creation through this beautiful, beloved community. We are the light. We live the light. We share the light. We are an expression of divine light. This is the truth of us now. And I'm so grateful to see it, to accept it, to feel it, to affirm it here. So grateful that this is what is so. And out of this gratitude, I release this prayer now into that law, into that rich soil of creation that receives this prayer like a beautiful seed that begins to burst forth into life, into the world of form. I let go, I let it be. It is done. And so it is. Amen.
Thanks for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. To make a donation, please visit milehighchurch.org.